was the darkest day of the year. Dark not just because the moon wasn't out, dark not just because it was night, but the storm was coming in. And Peter had a lot of work to do.
He needed to get ready for flooding conditions in case the basement flooded again, which was always happening every time it rained. And his sister never seemed to accept that this was going to happen, and therefore never helped him. He went to fill the sandbags, and
well, he had to find the sandbags. They were hidden under all the toys and the parts of toys and the broken toys that he had stacked in the basement from all the things that he had made for the kids over the years. He had made toy trucks and toy trains and ride-in kinds of contraptions that you could almost call dragons. And he had to move all that stuff away to dig out those sandbags that were in the back till he could drag them out to the back and fill them with sand and drag them downstairs again. And all the while, his sister is just
sitting around watching Netflix as if nothing is going to go wrong. It wasn't exactly that Katrina was an eternal optimist. It's just like she lived her entire life with a sheen of denial. Like bad things weren't going to happen because she just decided to ignore them. It was infuriating to Peter, who, on the other hand, was very
pessimistic about how life was going to turn out. And he felt he had justification for this because things hadn't turned out that well for him. I mean, he was living with his sister after all. His wife had left him. She took the kids. All those toys hadn't seemed to make a difference, you know. He just thought he could somehow keep her there and keep the relationship going if he had just made one more thing, just fulfilled one more wish of that little girl. But it didn't work. She left him anyway, and now he was out here in the drizzle, starting to fill the sandbags and stack them down by the road that always flooded every time there was a big storm like this. He sure hoped
that the rain wouldn't come like it predicted. He hoped that the denial of his sister was actually just sane thinking, that she didn't want to put all that effort in like he did every single time they called for more than an inch or two of rain, that she was conserving her energy for some great event sometime in the future, unbeknownst to anyone. But he didn't think it was likely. There was a part of him too that got sad every time the toys were floating around in the water. Because even though the children were there to play with them, he had put his heart and soul into those toys. And he wanted to be able to preserve them from when they were older. But he couldn't convince himself that they were important enough to bring upstairs and put back on the shelves where they had been before the children left. He had all the sandbags in place and he went back in the house and the rains came. And
his sister, after 10 years of sitting around in that chair and watching Netflix, for some reason, she had gone downstairs and she had dragged up all of those toys and stacked them in the living room. He couldn't believe it when he came back in. He couldn't believe it when he saw her hauling that last batch up from downstairs. And he asked her, "Cindy, what are you doing?" And she said,
"It's time. I think this time the rain really is going to come. And I know that these toys that are so precious to you have gotten drenched before. But I just don't think we should let that happen anymore. I watched this really poignant special on Netflix, and it has changed my world. And I want to make a commitment to you as a sister to start caring about what you care about and showing up for the rain. Let's put all of these back on the shelf and give your little girl a call. I haven't talked to my niece in a while. And I remember which one was her favorite. And I was thinking maybe we would send it to her. What do you think about that?
He thought it was great. He couldn't believe it, but he thought it was great. And so he stacked all the toys up on the shelves. He pulled the favorite down. He took a picture of it. He texted it to his ex-wife and he said, I'm going to give you a call. I want to talk to our daughter. And that's exactly what he did. And it didn't fix everything. Didn't bring them back together. Didn't stop the rain, which did flood the basement. But he felt a whole lot better for it. And he gave his sister a big hug for turning the corner.